Today we discuss on functional response in a prey-predator interaction, and for that first we discuss on the population interaction. What is population interaction? What do you mean by population interaction? Mention three main types of such interaction. Population interaction is a phenomenon where different populations, two or more species, interact with one another to establish a stabilized transfer of energy and food sources residing in a same community. So, population interaction means this is a phenomenon between two or more species of populations, and they interact with each other. And there are three main types of interaction between species. First, predator-prey interaction. Predator-prey interaction, in this type of interaction, a dominating species, that is predator মানে শিকারী প্রাণী, যেমন ধরো বাঘ বা এরকম ধরনের কোনো কিছু হতে পারে, predators, and depends on the other species, this prey, for food. Prey means here say deer. If predator is tiger, then prey is deer. And predator, if predator is owl, then prey is mouse. So in this type of interaction, dominating species, that is predators, depends on other species. We call they a prey. The growth of prey is decreased and growth of predator is increased. Growth of prey is decreased and growth of prey is increased. If predator stop predating, then the prey will become dominant out of control. Prey will become dominant out of control. So this will destroy the balance of ecosystem. Here we give an example. If predators owls and hunt mice is prey, and so on. There are so many such species in our system. So such interaction between predator and prey interaction in this type of interaction is this one. Next, second type, competition. When two or more species compete with each other for the same limited resources like food or water at the same time. So the growth of each population is decreased in such interaction. Example, on Mumbai's west coast flamingos and local fish fight for same food, the zooplankton, which is found in shallow creeks. So these types of species are in competition with each other. Next type, third type, mutualism. Mutualism means two or more species depend on each other so that growth of each species is increased in such interaction. Here, the species become beneficial for each other. Example, lichen is a composite organism that arises from algae living among fungi. In the interactive, the fungi provide a great anchorage, and on the other hand, algae produce food for both utilizing sunlight and chlorophyll. So we hear three types of um, population interaction. First type is predator prey. Predator is predator predators are hunting prey for foods. And second type, competition. So here two or more species compete each other for the same limited resources like food and water, etc. And third type is mutualism. So they are cooperate each other. Well, example is lichen is the uh, example for this. Lichen is a type of algae with fungi, and so uh, this is the these three types of the population interaction. Next, we define functional response in a prey-predator interaction. Describe the different Holling type functional responses in mathematical form and draw the sketches of responses curve and explain the merit and demerits and so on. So first we define what is functional response. Functional response is defined by the average number of prey killed, that means resource harvested, per individual predator, predator means consumer, per unit time as a function of prey density. So dimension of the functional response is the prey, dimension of prey into dimension of predator inverse and into dimension of time inverse scale. So functional response is defined by the average number of prey killed, resource harvested per individual predator by the per individual predator per unit time as a function of this. অদৃশ কুমার মিথিয়া, দেবজ্যোতি শীল।
বেদব্রত স্যার জয়েন করবে, একটু দেরি হবে বললো।
Okay. Now, Holling type functional responses. Holling 1959 considered three types of functional responses: Holling type 1, Holling type 2, and Holling type 3. First, Holling type 1. Here the prey consumption rate F1N of predator increases linearly with prey density, but F1N is constant suddenly when N is high. Here, the handling time age needed by the predator to process a food item is negligible, or that consuming food does not interfere with searching for food. This is used in Lotka Volterra predator prey model. Mathematically, we can represent this type 1 Holling type 1 functional response is f1n equals to a into n, and f1n is constant for a higher value of n. So this f1n equal to n, this is the linear type functional response. Here prey consumption rate, this f1n of predator by predator, increases linearly with the prey density. If prey density increases, then prey consumption rate by predators also increases. So this is the type 1 functional response, and but for certain higher values of n, that is n is here the prey density, then this f1n is equal to constant, suddenly constant. We later on draw this graph for functional response type 1. Next we come to the definition 2. Before that, we give an example for type 1 responses. Now, example, filter feeders like clams, krill, sponges, is whales, sharks, flamingos, etc. trap a constant proportion of prey like phytoplankton passing through the filter present in their body, and prey consumption saturates at some value. Filter feeders means like krill, sponges. So they are trapped a constant proportion of prey like phytoplankton passing through their filter present in their body, and the prey consumption saturates at some value. This is the type 1 functional response. This is the linear type. Next, the type 2 functional response, that is the Holling type 2 response. This response is characterized by decelerating intake rate F2N, which follows from the assumption that the consumer, that is predator, is limited by its capacity to process food. Mathematically, we can represent F2N equal to AN by 1 plus HA into N, where H is the handling time and A is the searching time. And handling time needed by the predator process to fold time. Actually, what is the handling time? Handling time is the average time and by a predator for consuming and subduing a captured prey before searching a next prey. This is the handling time, and A is the searching time, searching for prey by predator. Note that if you put age equal to 0, so if handling time is 0, then f2n equals to n. So then it is a linear type functional response. So that is equal to type 1 response. Then type 2 response, functional response become linear. Also note that if n tends to infinity, so divide by n on the numerator and denominator. So limit n tends to infinity, f2n equals to 1 by h, So when n tends to infinity, that is the density of prey is high, then f2n means the consumption rate of the by predator equal to 1 by h. This is the asymptotic constant. asymptotic value is 1 by h for F2n. And this is modeled by rectangular hyperbola. So type 2 is also known as hyperbolic type functional response. The curve always have a negative concavity since F2 double dash is negative. And F2n equals to an by 1 plus h a into n. This equals to divide by ah numerator and denominator. So cancel an h inverse n by ah inverse plus n. So F2n can be represented as Cn by d plus n, where C equals to h inverse and d equal to ah whole inverse. And this C which is 1 by h is called the maximum killing rate, and d is equal to h whole inverse is the half saturation constant. As a n tends to infinity, F2n equals to C. F2n equals to C if n tends to infinity, and when n equal to d, then F2n equal to C by 2. Maximum half of
স্যার
the বলো
ওই স্যার হাফ স্যাচুরেশন কনস্ট্যান্ট জিনিসটা কি?
হাফ স্যাচুরেশন কনস্ট্যান্ট মানে সে যতটা সে স্যাচুরেট করবে, অর্থাৎ সে যার যে কিলিং রেট যেটা আছে, যে প্রেডেটর kills prey hunting. So this is the half saturation means প্রেডেটর যেটা স্যাচুরেশন এর বেশি আর সে কনজিউম করতে পারবে না, এর বেশি আর প্রেডেটর কনজিউম করতে পারবে না, তো তার হাফ সেটাকে বলছে স্যাচুরেশন কনস্ট্যান্ট। এই যে 1 বাই এইচটা হচ্ছে স্যাচুরেশন 1 বাই এইচ। আমরা যখন গ্রাফটা দেখাবো, দেখো এই গ্রাফটা আমি পরে দেখাচ্ছি, লক্ষ্য করো গ্রাফটা। এই যে আমরা গ্রাফটা এঁকেছি, তোমার এই এনটা হচ্ছে ডেন্সিটি অফ প্রে আর এফ এনটা হচ্ছে নাম্বার অফ প্রে কনজিউমড পার টাইম। এইটা হচ্ছে 1 বাই এইচ, এই লাইনটা হচ্ছে 1 বাই এইচ, এই লাইনটা 1 বাই এইচ। এই টাইপ 1টা লিনিয়ার টাইপ, যেটা ফার্স্ট এন পর্যন্ত সার্টেন এন পর্যন্ত এটা লিনিয়ার টাইপ, অর্থাৎ f1nটা equals to an, f1n, and then after some higher values of n, this is n is constant, f1n is constant. And for type 2, this is rectangular hyperbola, this f2n equals to an by 1 plus ah into n. This is the rectangular hyperbola, and this saturation point into 1 by h. This is the half saturation point, means this here. So half saturation point, consumption rate. This is the full saturation, this is the 1 by h. This is the 1 by h asymptotic state line for this for the type 2 consumption rate. And next, type 3 is this type, is the sigmoid curve. So type 3, example of type 2, this type of response is followed by invertebrate predators like spiders, octopi, ladybugs, etc. They eat their prey while it is still alive. Many of such predators don't hunt for food, preferring to set traps or lie in wait for their meal. Example, spiders spinning webs to trap and kill insects. যেমন ফার্স্ট টাইপে কি করছিল তোমার, যে ফার্স্ট টাইপের যে এক্সাম্পল টাইপ 1 এর ক্ষেত্রে যেমন যে ক্ল্যামস, ক্রিল, এরা তোমার একটা তাদের ওই ফিল্টার একটা টাইপের একটা জিনিস রয়েছে, সেখান দিয়ে ফাইটোপ্লাঙ্কটনগুলো সরাসরি তাদের মধ্যে তারা খেয়ে নিচ্ছে। এখানে প্রিডেটর হচ্ছে এইগুলো, স্পঞ্জ, ক্রিল, ক্ল্যাম্পস, এগুলো প্রিডেটর। আর এখানে প্রে হচ্ছে ফাইটোপ্লাঙ্কটন। তারা ছোট ছোট তোমার বিভিন্ন ধরনের শ্যাওলা জাতীয় জীবগুলোকে সে কনস্ট্যান্টলি সে অ্যাবজর্ব করে যাচ্ছে, খেয়ে যাচ্ছে, মুখ দিয়ে খেয়ে যাচ্ছে। আর এখানে এই যেমন স্পাইডার, এটা কিন্তু টাইপ 2 টাইপের, এটা ওয়েট করছে, তারা ওয়েবের মধ্যে ওয়েট করছে কখন সে একটা পোকা বা মাকড় আসবে, সে ওয়েট করছে, সে কিন্তু কনস্ট্যান্টলি সেগুলোকে অ্যাবজর্ব করছে না। আস্তে 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 এন যত বাড়ছে, এর মানে হচ্ছে নাম্বার অফ ডেন্সিটি অফ দ্য প্রে যত বাড়ছে, আস্তে 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 ধীরে ধীরে সে ইনক্রিজটা করছে, slowly increases the intake capacity of the predator, slowly increases. So many of such predators don't hunt for food, preferring to set trap or lie in some wait for their meal. And type 3 functional response, in this type of functional response, predation rate rises slowly at low prey density level and accelerate when prey availability increases and saturates eventually. And so mathematically we can write this type 2 functional response F3n is equal to an square by 1 plus ha into n square. This is the Holling type 3 functional responses. And where a is the handling time. Handling time means the uh, average time by the predator for subduing and consuming a captured prey before searching next prey. This is called the handling time. And a is the searching rate. And predators can switch from its focal prey. Focal prey means main prey to an alternative prey species if focal prey density is low. This is very interesting point. These predators can switch from its focal prey to an alternative prey species if focal prey density is low. Main prey density is low, then predator can switch for the other prey. If the density of focal prey increases, then predator species again switches to its focal prey. Since the curve of F3n is a sigmoidal curve, that is a S-shaped curve, so it is also known as the sigmoidal response function. This type 3 Holling type response function is called sigmoidal response functions. Example, polyphagous. Polyphagous means eating many types of animals or others, and vertebrate predators like example birds can switch to their most abundant prey species. বিভিন্ন ধরনের পাখিরা কখনো সে ইঁদুর খাচ্ছে, কখনো সে সাপ খাচ্ছে, এরকম ধরনের ধরো তোমার ঈগল বা যেগুলো আছে তোমার তারা কিন্তু এই বিভিন্ন ধরনের পলিফ্যাগুয়াস ইটিং তারা তারা চেঞ্জ করতে পারে, তাদের যে প্রেগুলোকে চেঞ্জ করতে পারে প্রেডিটরগুলো। এবং সেক্ষেত্রে থার্ড টাইপ functional response curve is the sigmoid curve, and sometime it is constant to 1 by h. This is the sigmoid curve, and this is the different types of responses curve. Now, next article, numerical response. Actually, this numerical response is not included in your Calcutta University syllabus, but we touch this point. What is the numerical response? Because it is closely related with the functional response. The numerical response is the change in predator density as a function of change in prey density. Change in predator density as a function of change in prey density. It is associated with the functional response, which is the change in predator's rate of prey consumption with change in prey density. As Holling notes, total predation can be expressed as a combination of functional and numerical response. The numerical response has two mechanisms. The demographic response, this consists of changes in the rates of predator reproduction due to changes in prey density. And this type of response we can see later on. This is the Lotka-Volterra model. This demographic response, this consists of the changes in the rate of predator reproduction due to the changes of prey density. And second type numerical response is aggregational response. This is a change in predator population due to immigration into an area with increased prey population. So due to immigration into an area with the increased prey population, this type of aggregational response. If Fn is a functional response of predator, then its numerical response is Gn. Then we can write Gn equal to theta into Fn, where theta is the dimensionless parameter, 0 less than theta less than 1. The concept of numerical response becomes practically important when trying to create a strategy for pest control. So this is the numerical response.